testing. Is this thing even on? Oh, it says maybe we're live. That would be cool. I have not gone live in, I don't know, long time that has been since I've created content stuff. Let's see, I'm checking on YouTube. Yeah, I'm seeing us. I'm seeing us on YouTube. That's cool. I'm seeing myself rather. And I'm using Restream. It kind of like makes it go to multiple things. So I'm also going to Twitter. I wonder, how can I know? Hey, I think I see myself on Twitter. That's pretty cool. And we got some people maybe viewing it. Okay, whoa, we are live. We're here. It's always kind of weird talking in front of a lot of people on the internet. It makes me a little nervous. I haven't done it in a little while. I've created lots of videos and things over the past, but it's been a little bit of time. And I'm using OBS. I got this cool switcheroo thing here. So it's like, okay, I got to get used to all this thing. It's like you're multitasking. It's like you got to get good at multitasking. But I'm going to talk about my new project at some point here. And before we do that, maybe I should cast out what's going on. So this is Farcaster. This is where it's like Twitter, but for the crypto scene. So let's go ahead and just let some people know about what's going on here. Stoke Fire, we'll drop the link there. Cool thing about, Potion. Oh, I guess that must be my default YouTube channel thing, so I'll just exit that out. Cool thing about Farcaster is that they do not take down links. Like they're not gonna make this post not show if I have a link. So let's do that. Let's just cast that out. Just do it. So just like sharing this in some groups. Okay. And then we could go over to Twitter and we could cast this out. Whoa, 15. Are people jumping in here? Are you guys watching this? You're watching me do this thing? Well, I'll talk about, interesting with Twitter, because with Twitter, it's like, as far as I know, it's like, it shows I'm live here. So anyone that follows me, I think it shows they're live. It's like, I can't get everyone even to see a Twitter post, like a tweet. People, most of my followers, I feel like, don't even see my tweets nowadays. It's just how the algorithm goes. But if I go live, then you can see me. And I think if you're on your phone, it's like on the top even. And you're like, oh, that's him. So, oh, wait a second. It posts that out. So it already makes a tweet automatically for me, apparently. So maybe I don't need to do anything on Twitter. It's just like automatic. It's just like, oh, you're live. And there I am. Interesting. So, well, I guess we should get into this because we got some people saying some things in the chat. Still figuring out how this works. It really is like multitasking. It's like, how are you supposed to talk? And you're supposed to look at what's going on in the chat. And you're supposed to make sure the live stream is working. Like, is this thing even on? And then you also have to actually build stuff. I mean, this is overload. But it is good. I have an extra monitor here. Have a decent setup. So that makes things work. It looks like more people are on Twitter rather than YouTube, which makes sense. I don't really know where it shows how how many people are watching or anything. Oh, there we go. So yes, we've got 22 people on Twitter right now. We've got 2 people on YouTube. So that's how things work. All right, let's get this stuff out of the way so you don't have to see that. And I'll actually talk about what I'm building, maybe a little bit even why I'm building it. Actually look at some code here, some smart contract code. And then maybe we'll actually try to write some code. Oh boy, it's gonna be big. So yeah, I've actually started this project to some extent already because I knew kind of, whenever I start a project, before I like share it publicly, I kind of want to get a head start to just even make sure, like, is this something that I want to do? Is this even something that I want to build? Because, we have lots of ideas in our head as builders and we're like, all right, I'm going to build this. And then the next day you're like, no, that was a bad idea. You at least have to see, was this even a good idea? Not saying that this is a good idea, but I'm excited about it and I want to build it and I think it could be really fun. And so I'm going for it. So I've probably spent like 2 weeks of building on this already. And so I've already written quite a bit of chunk of code. I already have like an app, like a version of it running on my phone. So that's good. Also, it's like you have to like take out some risks. Like, can I even build this thing? Like, how hard is it going to be to build this thing? So I had to like play around with some different tech and stuff. Like I haven't touched smart contract stuff in a little while. And that's like what all this code is. And so I, played around with that and just even like made sure like, okay, like, is this even something I like? Is this something I'm going to want to do? Am I going to want to build this stuff? So that was like, step 1. And then like I had to play around with some new frameworks because, for example, also, by the way, do I sound okay? Let me know in the chat if I sound good or not good, or if any video or anything doesn't look right, because this is my first stream in a long time. So yeah, let me know in the chat how things are, and that will help me make this better in the future. Okay, so the other thing I was doing is creating an Expo app. So Expo, very cool framework, allows you to do TypeScript, JavaScript, but create a native mobile app. And I've never built one of those before. And so I was playing around with that and kind of just making sure I could make an app, see what the process was like. Is it a doable thing? Like which direction I should go? Like, should I just make a website? Should I actually make a mobile app? What's the best way? So just playing around with different things and different tech stuff to like figure out some of these decisions early on, I think is important. But now I'm to a good place where I kind of like know what I'm going to do. I know kind of my plans and my goals for this. And I think we can make something happen here. Yes, yada, yada. Yes, I am still live. Wow, we got 34 people in here. So I guess it's working. That's good. So what's the game? So I am building an on-chain game, and I'm building it on the base blockchain, which is a layer 2 for Ethereum. Why am I doing this? One, I think it'd be fun. Like, I think it'd be fun to build something, and it's experiment. I think something that we're missing in crypto and Web3 is there's not enough experiments going on of people just trying new things, trying to do something new. I feel like we're starting to see the same patterns over and over again. And you've seen lots of people talk about this, like on the Twitter timeline of just like, there's nothing really new and exciting. Like last bull run, like there's just so many new projects and new things happening that made it a very exciting thing to be a part of. And, don't get me wrong, there's still things out there. There's builders building stuff, trying things, but I don't know, it seems like overall we're missing some of those things. And not that I can necessarily be that, because that's like, I don't know, those are big shoes to fill. But I'm going to try. I'm going to try to do something interesting, experiment, try to make something. And one of the things I like, I like playing games. I think that there's a place for games on crypto that could be really interesting. And we've seen some of this in the past. Like we've seen some things kind of work, but nothing that's like all the way there. Like things kind of come and go, kind of pump and dump and stuff like that with games where it's going well for a little bit and then things kind of crash down. So I want to kind of create a game that's fun. That's the first thing. It's got to be fun. It's got to be something people want to play, but also something that can work with crypto stuff kind of integrated into it. Also, I think like a mobile app, like that's where, you can get a lot more consumer users, a lot more people playing something. And so that's why I'm kind of going for a mobile app. Also choosing Base because, Base has done really well recently. I think, it's kind of, like, I guess what the strategy of like what people talk about Base is that like it's going to be where all the consumers kind of come to when they kind of come in the next bull run. And I think I could see that because Coinbase just makes it really easy for people to come on to Base and just like get money there and things like that. And they have their apps and Coinbase is kind of where a lot of consumers are and have been. And so when more people come in, they'll probably come through Coinbase and then they'll probably easily find themselves on Base, maybe even without even knowing it. And then they'll want to play games and they'll want to do stuff like this. So to kind of give a summary of what this game is I'm building, I'm calling it Stoke Fire. And you have to stoke your fire. Ultimately, your goal is to build a village. You're creating a village. You want to grow the population of your village. And your villagers really like to stay warm. They like to stoke the fire. And the fire is kind of the center of their village. And so you got to stoke the fire. It's something you got to do. And so that's why I'm calling it Stoke Fire. That's kind of like the, fun kind of branding of like having a fire and I don't know. But building your village ultimately is what you want to do. And so a lot of my inspiration for this game is coming from Clash of Clans, mobile game, some similar things, some village building kind of stuff going on there, as well as Age of Empires 2. So this last month, I took a whole month off from work and I was just like, spending time with family, working on some projects around the house, also just like having fun, trying to enjoy time. And so I played some games, and back when I was really young, I played Age of Empires 2, like just a little bit. And I wanted to see like, why is Age of Empires 2, so well, like doing so well? Like that game is like over 20 years old and people are still playing it. Like actually a lot of people are playing it right now. There's even like a pro scene of it in Age of Empires 2. And it's partially because they launched like an HD version. So they kind of like made a new version of the game. And then they did the definitive edition of the game. I think that was in 2019 maybe. And so then it grew even more. And so there's more and more people getting into Age of Empires 2. And so I wanted to play it to kind of remember kind of what the game is like, but also like, why is this a game people like? My favorite kind of games are like city builders, civilization kind of games. Like actually Civilization is one of my favorite games, strategy games. And so, that's what's kind of inspiring a lot of these ideas for this on-chain game, Stoke Fire. Okay, so maybe that's enough rambling on. If you have any questions, feel free to reply or put it in the chat, and I can take a look at those. Also, I still don't really know. Do I sound good? Is this even working? I don't really know. So let me know if you can in some way, and that would be helpful. But it says we've got 47, we got 50 people on Twitter. We've got 5 people on YouTube. So I guess this is working. Oh, that is weird. I was supposed to have my chat working. Let's see, OBS. How do you make that work? Settings. Yeah, because I should have a chat that's going on so you can see other people's chat. But I don't have a ton of people chatting. Anyways, maybe, if you had this little widget here that you could see, maybe everyone would actually want to chat. Doesn't look like it's working. Well, I'll have to play around with that another time, try to get that working so that you can see people's comments and stuff. Oh yeah, last thing I'll say before I jump into this code is kind of my plan with these streams is really to, I guess it's really to kind of keep myself on a rhythm of keeping myself accountable. Like when you share stuff in public and do things publicly and lots of people are seeing it, it kind of makes you have to do it because you're like, hey, I'm going to build this thing. I'm going to do this thing and I'm going to show up and build it. There's no one actually physically there to make you do the work. But if I say that and all of you guys are expecting me, even though I don't necessarily know who you are, you're all just online people, it kind of pushes me for whatever reason. I think that works for most people. It definitely works for me where I'm like, all right, okay, I got to build, I got to make things happen. People are wanting to see progress and I have to show the progress in a live stream. So I think it's good. It's kind of like if like proof of work, it's kind of like proof of work for a founder. It's like putting the work out there. I'm proving you guys, I'm working on this. I'm making this happen. We're going to build this. We're going to do this. Hopefully it also gets you guys involved where you kind of follow the building and get kind of excited about it, hopefully because it's something cool. So that's, I guess, the other idea of live streaming is kind of getting others wanting to join in on the fun and give feedback. Ideally, like if I could learn as we're going of like, hey, I like this idea, I don't like this idea, that could help my building so that I actually build something good. Okay. Also, I keep on adding alsos and ands and extras, but my goal is to try to get something built probably in like a week from now that a few people can play, like a first version that people can try out. And I have this little group called I Must Build. If you want to join that group, let me know. It's like 12 people right now, and it's the small first early access users that are going to try out Stoke Fire and hopefully give some feedback, and we can kind of have fun with it in that small group. And later, I'll kind of be opening it up to more and more people once I'm ready. Okay, so let's jump into the code. This is smart contracts for Stoke Fire. And I already got a decent amount of stuff built and working. And you'll be proud of me, I even have tests. Yeah, I have tests literally for like every function so far. So, you should be proud. I'm actually writing tests for this, which I think is a necessity when it comes to smart contracts. Because smart contracts are running on the blockchain and it's not as mutable. Like you can't change this stuff as easy, right? And so I think that's why it's important to write tests, especially for smart contracts. But I am using something very interesting, a framework called Diamond. This is a framework built on top of smart contracts that allows you to update your code. And this is big, like if you build software or do anything like that, then you'll probably know that having an iterative approach to building is like really important. Like that's how you learn. Like you don't know how you're going to build things all at once. You kind of just like build a little bit, put it out there, learn from people, and then add more. You fix bugs, things like that. And the problem with smart contracts, I think it actually is a pretty big problem, is that when you put a smart contract out into the world, you can't change it. Like that code is just there. It's like frozen. It's frozen in time. And the only way to do a new version is to actually do like a smart contract V2, do a whole new smart contract, which then if you have, people already using the old one, you have to kind of migrate them over. You got to migrate all their assets, all their data, everything over to the new version. And that's a whole pain, a whole headache. And it's a lot of friction for people and users to move over to new versions. And so what Diamond does is it allows you to create these little functions. They're called facets. All your code and logic is in these facets. And then you can update these things. Like I can actually update these, add new facets to the smart contract, and the framework Diamond just kind of controls these updates and things. And so yeah, it's pretty cool because you can actually build in a iterative approach, and that's kind of my plan with building a game. Like a game is like, there's a lot to build, and I want to get something out there that people can play as soon as possible. But then that's like day one, like that's the first stage. And then I'm going to actually build more on top, and Diamond allows me to do that. And so that's what I'm doing with Diamond. In some ways it takes away some of the benefits of smart contracts, which is as a user, when you see a smart contract, that thing can't change. And so when you're putting money into it and stuff like that, like you can trust it and you're like, all right, this thing's not going to change. I don't have to worry. Like that's a big benefit of smart contracts. But, this is kind of a different approach where it does take away some of that benefit, but later I can cement some of these parts of the smart contract later to where it can be changed. And then, users can know, all right, that's not changing. Nothing's going to be updated there. This is, so it's kind of a way to slowly centralize the smart contracts over time, I guess you could say. So if you don't know what that means, that doesn't make sense, just forget that I said that. But I have very good iced coffee here. Hello, howdy, hello everybody. seeing some people comment. Thanks for the comments, appreciate that. Glad, Yash, that you like the format. Should be interesting. Should be fun. All right. So looking at this code, what we have here is we have this app storage. This is also part of Daemon, and this is where the actual data is saved. Also, I wonder if maybe if I make this bigger, maybe you can see that a little better. Okay, so this is my struct for a village, and this is the data currently that a village has. So you can have wood, you can have food, you can gather resources, makes sense. If we're talking about Age of Empires 2s, games like that, you're going to have a village where you're getting resources for your village. So right now we have wood and food that you can go gather. And then these times are storing when you last gathered, when you last chopped wood. And so you can only do it every so often. I think right now I'm setting it to like every 24 hours for chopping wood, and every 12 hours you can gather some food. So these are kind of how you get your resources in the game currently. I think there's a lot of things we could do on top of this, but right now, you're just like kind of clicking to go gather some wood and do some stuff like that. And this app storage is storing that state. This is something that doesn't change. Like, you can add new data to this, but the data here stays and is saved in the smart contract. But then the facet is what actually is updating this data. And so you can add new data and stuff, but this is, in the smart contract, this stuff is actually saved and saved there. But we can update these facet functions that has the actual logic that's updating and changing the state, the app storage. And that's kind of what this does. So like this one, for example, actually, let's do the resource facet, chop wood. So when we chop wood, this will actually be good for me to kind of look through, just because I'm a little rusty. I've kind of been away from this project for a month now because I was, doing stuff, had a month off. And so I haven't looked at this code in a little bit. So this will be good. I'll just walk through this, it'll kind of get me ready, and then maybe we can add something new. Okay, so chopping wood, basically we take the token ID. The token ID is is the token ID of that user's village. So each village is actually an NFT. So they have their NFT village. It's not something that people are really going to be trading or anything. It's just kind of a way to hold the state, and they could maybe pass the village to their other wallet or things like that. But yeah, so they're chopping wood for that village, right? And this revert here is, if the last time they chopped was over 24 hours ago, whatever that wood interval is, which is 1 day, so 24 hours, then it's not going to let them, they can only chop if it's been 24 hours. And then we have some randomness, and that's where the seed comes in. Right now, this is like, I guess you could call it pseudo-rando. It's just kind of random based on, well, we have this random function. It's kind of random based on some random blockchain data, block hash, timestamp. And so later I'll have to update this to make it more random, like more real random, I guess you could say, because it's kind of pseudo random. Let's see. Wow, we've got like 65 people on here. Yes, JP, come join us. I agree. Okay, yeah. So this is like a pseudo random. It works for now, but later on I'll have to make this like a more real random number, and there's some different things I'll have to do that. But for like the first version, I was thinking, okay, we can just do like a blockchain random number, and that's easier. And so this determines how much wood we're going to add. So you get 2 to 6. Randomly, you're going to get somewhere from 2 to 6 wood each time you chop wood. We add that to their village right here, update the last time they chopped wood, and then emit event of, which village chopped wood, the timestamp, and how much wood was added. And so that event kind of gets hit off. Have a very similar thing for gather food here, and kind of doing a similar thing. So what we want to do now, so basically, in this game, that's pretty simple. You can chop wood, you can gather food, and you can stoke your fire. And when you stoke your fire, that's when you actually use some of your resources. You're using wood to stoke your fire, keep the fire going. You got to keep that flame going. So you actually use some wood. And I think it costs, 3-5 wood? Let's see, stoke. Wood to stoke, 3 wood. So it costs 3 wood to stoke your fire. And and also when you stoke your fire, you get some points. So you can see we're calculating a score and adding to their score. And this is ultimately you want your score to go up. Like in any game, you want that score to go up. So I'm just checking a couple things. So what we need to do next, because you can get some resources and you can use some resources, but it'd be nice if we had some more actions that people could do. Ultimately, to make a game fun, it's like you need different decisions, different strategies and paths that users can take. And so we need to just, add some more complexity here. So we need to build some things, basically. So we need a new kind of action, which is building. Because right now we have resources, we have stoking. So we need to add some building. And the first thing that I think makes sense for you to be able to build is a hut. Use your wood, your hard-earned wood that you've been going for and getting resources for, and you need to build a hut so that then you can grow your village, right? You can't grow your village with no place to sleep, no place to stay. And so so that's kind of the plan here. I think we need to add a build hut function and action. And to do this, I think I'm also going to add a new facet, because kind of how I've been organizing this is all my resources are in one place, all those different actions. And then stoking, there's multiple different things that go on with stoking. That's all in one place. The village facet, what is this? I think this is for minting this is for minting your village, kind of like starting the game. And so then, also, by the way, the idea is it's going to be free to mint a village. We don't want a game that's hard to access and that's hard for people to get in. I think that's, something that Web3 needs to be better at. So anyways, so that's that facet. And so we need a new facet that is for building. So probably a build facet. That's what we'll probably call it. All right, let's see. Where are we here? All right, we're on master. Sure, that's fine. We just build on master when we're solo, right? That's just how it works. I'm using Forge. So just, make sure everything's working. Look at that, 25 tests, and they all passed. Okay, so our tests are working. We're gonna add some new stuff. Let's do this. Wrong way. Okay. Also, what we're gonna have to change, we're gonna add a new facet, and then I have to kind of remember how to do some of this diamond stuff. Upgrade initializers, because, here we go, scripts. So there's this deploy script. It's actually this one. This is deploying all the different facets. So we're gonna have to add our new facet here, and hopefully this doesn't make our function too big, because it's already kind of big. It's kind of like our initial deploy. And so we're gonna have to make that work. All right, so let's do this. We'll call it build facet.sol. Got that. We're going to kind of copy a few of these things because we're doing similar stuff. So this app modifiers is kind of what makes this be a facet. If we look at that, this is an app storage root. It's an app storage. So it's kind of extending this whole app storage thing. And that's what gives it storage. So it can access the storage. But it also, app modifiers, is extending with some extra modifiers. Like, is this the owner? Is this the village owner? Is this person allowed to mint? So we get extra things. And so kind of it's organized in a way where I can add extra modifiers here really easily. And that's all automatically accessible to all the facets. So that's kind of how that works. Whoa. Okay, so we got our build facet. And wow, look at that. That's pretty funny. AI coming to, I'm using GitHub Copilot. One of these streams, I'm going to play around with cursor. Maybe that'll be like my next stream is playing around with cursor. Because I have not used it yet. But I have been using GitHub Copilot. Usually I would not just hit tab on this. Usually I don't do that. Usually I kind of like, as I'm writing, if it has like a line, maybe like 1 or 2 lines, I'll be like, sure. This is pretty big though. I mean, they think they know, the AI thinks they know everything. Wow. Building costs. It's kind of interesting. This could be good. Could give us a head start here. Time not passed. Yeah, a lot of things we don't really want here, but we're going to do it. We're going to go with it. And obviously I'm going to go through and update all this stuff. Okay, wow, 75 people in here. Whoa. Is that number even right? I don't know. Oh yeah, it says there's 68 people on Twitter, 71 people on Twitter. So I guess it's working. Cool. Okay, so there's obviously some things that we're going to need to change here. Okay, so we're going to call this build huts because we're building a hut. And for this one, we actually aren't going to have any time change. Like you can do this whenever. So we don't care about some build interval. So we're going to remove those things. We don't care about a seed. There's no randomness to this. At least I don't think there should be. Should we have randomness to this? My idea was that, you have an amount of wood and every time you're able to use your wood and build a hut, So I don't think we should have any randomness to this. We also don't need any building ID, anything like that. I think our building costs are just going to be a constant. So let's get rid of that. And maybe we'll even add it up here. Let's see, hut. Yeah, right now you get, how much wood do you get right now? Resource facet. Yeah, so you get 2 to 6 wood. So I think that was about, so, you get 2 to 6 wood almost every day. I think that would be, 10 wood. Maybe that's a good start for, you kind of have to, it's a little, once you've been playing the game for a little bit, you can then start to build huts. You want some process of people kind of unlocking new things in the game. So yeah, I think that makes sense to do it like that. Okay, so hut building cost, hut wood cost, that makes more sense. We're not going to have any cost for food, no cost for score. Don't care about that. We do want in a build event token ID. We don't care about time built, so let's remove that. Don't care about score added. We do need to have an amount of wood you taken. So I'm trying to think how I've done this before. Was I just emitting the total amount of wood? I think so. Which at some point I think I'm going to need to change that, where I'm only emitting like the amount of wood that's actually changed, like the wood to stoke. For right now, I'm emitting. So I have an indexer, which we'll have to look at that at some point. And so it's, it's very much built off of these events that are being emitted. Oh, just saw my email. Okay. Man, I think I'm going to have to get used to this. We've got like 80 people on here. I'm going to have to get better at multitasking. Man, it's a skill, I'm sure. Because it's like, okay, people are replying me over here. There's stuff over there. It's like, is the stream working there? I'm trying to write code, and I'm writing it slower probably because I'm trying to do this. So I'm gonna have to get better at this. It'll be a work in progress. That's what would be good so I guess one of my goals is kind of to do a stream like this, like maybe even every day. Like if I did a 2-hour stream every day, one, it's like people can start to expect it. And, I don't know if I'd have it scheduled, but it's like randomly people can just like drop in. They kind of know I'm doing this thing. I think that would be cool. But also it's like, it will keep me going on it, and I'll get better at doing this. Like I'll get better at talking while coding. Like that's kind of different. Usually when I'm coding, I'm just like, I'm listening to music. I'm not talking. I'm not usually talking while coding. So we're going to get better at this, and you're going to see me get better at this. Hopefully if I actually get better, that's the plan. Okay. So let's for now, I think we're going to change this, but for now, let's just have this be UNT 256 wood. We're just going to do our total wood so we can keep track of that easily in our indexer. Don't care about block timestamp. Don't care about this. Don't care about this. Ooh, that's a good check. Not enough resources. We'll have to actually think about this. Not enough wood. That's what we care about. Not enough wood. So if they don't have enough wood for the wood costs, then we revert, tell them not enough wood, and that's how that works. Now, the other thing we need to do, which our AI completely did not think about, is we need to actually give them a hut. We don't even have a hut to give them right now. Okay, so let's go over here. We're going to just add this at the end. You could have lots of huts. Sure, huts. Wood, huts. We'll call it huts. Okay. So they do this now, village +1. So let's also do UNT 256 huts. Oh, also, if you are in the comments, you could also like leave comments like, hey, do this. Like, if you have ideas of how I could build something better, let me know. Or if I'm stuck, because I might get stuck sometimes. It's probably going to happen. Actually, just yesterday, oh man, I was banging my head against the wall trying to so I've not really done Expo before. And there's, to build a JavaScript, TypeScript app, to iOS. Like there's a whole process for that, right? Like there's just a ton of building stuff going on behind the scenes. And my build process was not working, trying to get that set up kind of for the first time. And it was very annoying and it wasn't working. So yeah, that was kind of annoying. I'm going to get stuck on things. So that would also be awesome with these live streams if people are able to help to some extent. That would be cool. It's like we're building this thing together, basically. Okay, so we've got our hut. We're creating huts. We need to now put out how many huts we've got. All right, so is this all we need this thing? So only village owner. That looks pretty good. Token ID, village. Just making sure this is how the AI was right there. That's how we get our village, and we want it to be storage. We've got our wood cost. We don't really need that. That's not right. Okay, if they don't have enough wood, we revert. Is there any other reverting that we need to do? Oh man, we got more people coming in here. We got like 90 people. This is cool. Okay, so we build the hut. I'm trying to think, is there anything else that this function should be doing? We check that they're the owner. And we'll actually write some tests for this. Yes, we are going to write tests actually, to make sure this all works correctly. Do they have enough wood? Revert, take away the wood, add the hut. They've got a new hut. Emit the event. Let's call this event build hut because that makes more sense. All right. That's pretty good. I think this is looking good. The only other thing is, we want to make it a constant for that. This is how rusty I am right now. I have not touched this code for a while. I'm just like, wait, how do you make a constant in Solidity again? Yeah, let's do that. But that's the nice thing about you can go learn from your past self. You can be like, how did I do this in the past? And then you go look at it, and then you learn, and that's how we're doing it right now. But if we keep up with this, we just keep building, man, we're gonna be good. You and me together, yes. All right, I think this is looking pretty good. We'll see, if there's any other issues once we start to test it. We don't really need these libraries here, so get rid of those. Don't need that error. It's not a thing. Okay, so next thing is that we need to add this facet to our deploy. We need to add this facet to our deploy script, and I have to remember how this works. So basically we have a fire NFT, Stoke Fire. This is our village NFT. So we deployed this using some cool Foundry stuff. So that's fine. Oh, no. This is deploying our NFT right here. So Stoke Fire NFT, then Stoke Fire. This is where we need to add the facet somewhere. Got to add the facet. And then this deploy script is basically a wrapper around the other two deploys. It's deploying Stoke Fire, deploying Stoke Fire NFT, boom, bada bang, and then setting up some other things so we're like ready to test. So I think if I go to like this village test, this should be using, So the really cool thing about Foundry, I don't know if you know much about Foundry. Oh, hey, look, we got more people on here. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Maybe I should explain really quick what I'm doing again. since we've got more people on here from Twitter, it looks like. Basically, we are building a game. Yeah, we're building a game together. It's called Stoke Fire. You can go check out my last tweet about it. Kind of just getting started building Stoke Fire on base, and it's a mobile game, and very much inspired by a couple different games that I've liked playing. My favorite kind of games are like building a civilization kind of game. So Civilization, Age of Empires 2, those are like games I really like. I think this game is also kind of inspired from Clash of Clans a bit. And so that's another game, kind of and this is how people build anything, right? It's like you take little ideas from here and there. And you're like, I like this, I like that. Let me take that. Okay, you copy that. You're kind of just taking little ideas from little things and then putting it into something new. And the other thing that's new, of course, is that I'm building this on chain. So this is on the blockchain, trying to really leverage crypto in ways that are cool. Because there's been some people that have figured this out and done well with this to some extent, but we haven't made it, right? Like, there's no crypto game that's like everyone's playing and everyone wants to use. And I'm not saying that I'm going to build that necessarily, but I want to experiment and I want to try to, I want to take a shot at it, build something new. I want to build something that's is new. Like, I feel like there's just not been as much exciting stuff happening in crypto these days. Last bull market, I feel like there's all these new things happening on. I feel like we're just seeing similar patterns and like, I don't know, it's gotten a little bit boring. So I want to do something exciting and new and figure things out. So this is an experiment. We're trying something called Stoke Fire, and you got to create your village and you got to grow your village. That's kind of the goal, to grow your population. And that's why we just built a hut, because you need huts. I was showing my code. You need huts to grow your village, of course. But another thing I've been inspired by a lot is Friend Pet. So Friend Pet is a cool on-chain game. I think they've done well. So, taking some different ideas from there, taking ideas from Clash of Clans, some ideas from the resource management and resource stuff in Age of Empires 2. And I'm kind of like bringing those things together to make an on-chain game. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. That is what I'm building right now. So hopefully that gets all you up to speed who are jumping in on here. So yeah, I'm just going to make a cast really quick. See if anyone else. I'm just going to cast some Warpcast really quick. See if anyone else wants to jump in here. Okay. So yeah, if you have any questions about what I'm doing, feel free to put something in the chat. I don't know. I guess on Twitter, do you just reply? Is that how it works? You just reply to... I guess you just reply to that tweet that's like the live stream tweet, maybe? Is that how you comment? Or can you actually comment in the feed of the live stream? I don't know. Maybe someone could figure that out. So if you have any questions, just, put a reply. I will answer stuff. Try to make this fun, engaging as I'm trying to build, because it's hard to multitask. Trying to build and talk to people at the same time and make sure the stream is working. Oh, and does my audio even work? Okay. That's what we're doing all at once. Okay, let's get back into this. Back into the code. Okay, so we're working on the script. The deploy script. So with diamonds, I already explained what diamonds are earlier in the stream. But for those that are jumping in really quickly, basically diamonds allow you to update your smart contract code in a very kind of organized and modular way. So each of these facets we can update. And this is, I think, huge for building a game, for really building any software. I think this is one of the actual problems with building smart contracts, building stuff on chain, is that, like, yes, it's immutable, which is huge. Like that's one of the benefits, right? Is like users can trust, like this code is not going to change. We can trust putting our assets in there. But like that's not how software is built. Like we don't just like put this huge contract out there that no one has tried. We don't even know if they like it, and we just throw it up there. Like that does not work in normal software world. And sadly, like in crypto on-chain building, like that's how it is. Like you just gotta like build this huge thing that no one's used yet, no one's touched. Then you put it out there, get feedback, and then you make like a V2. And that process just takes forever. Oh, also, if you're on Twitter, I am streaming this on YouTube as well. So if you like watching on YouTube, you can jump over there too. Just search Noah Bragg on YouTube and you can kind of find the stream over there, and maybe that's a better experience. Also, maybe that's where you can actually write more comments that I can see and respond to. So yeah, just letting you know. So basically Diamond, what it allows us to do is update these facets, and then we have this app storage, and this is the data that actually is like saved on the blockchain. And we can add things to this, like we just added our huts so that we know how many huts we have. But yeah, so these things are kind of staying the same, and then we can update facets as we go. And I'm pretty sure with Diamond at some point you can kind of like solidify, like freeze maybe facets or like freeze parts of the code to where like users can now trust like, okay, this isn't going to change. I'm not going to break things or update things. But, this is an experiment. So if you're going to jump in, with me on this journey, which I hope you do, because it's going to be fun, and you want to play this game, try it out once I get like the first version kind of going. Well, you just know like I'm building this kind of as we go. And so, there's risks. There's always risks with things like that, especially building stuff on the blockchain. So, okay, now we can go back. We can go back to the code. Okay, so basically we're just going to like copy some of this other stuff and do something similar. We need to create some build selectors. Build facet. I think we only have one, right? So this is for every function you have to kind of like add it. It's this whole whoop-de-doo-dah thing, right? Takes time. But we got some autocomplete there, so that's cool. All right, so we're adding our new facet, da-da-da-da. We got one, that should be good. Because like the resource facet, it has chop wood, gather wood. So then in our script, it has to have two selectors. It's all hard-coded. For our build hut, we just have build hut. Do that, and then we should add it similar to this. And do build facets. At least for the foreseeable future, this might be a lot of my facets. Like I might just be able to add code and not have to add many more facets, because I think that's that's pretty good. Okay. Why isn't this working here? Oh yeah, we need to define build facets somewhere. Let's do it up here. Boom. Yeah, we're gonna have to try out cursor some point. At some point, we're gonna try out cursor and see how it works. Right now, I just have GitHub Copilot. Been using that for a little while. All right, so build facet. We're gonna add. We need our build selectors. All right, so we're adding this facet in our deploy, and that should be it. That should be the steps for that. And to test this, really should just have to run all of our tests, because this is also doing our deploy. Stoke Fire NFT. Yeah. Oh, whoopsie daisy. I'm hitting things. I'm smashing stuff. So let's forge tests. We had 25 tests. Oh, nope. Yeah, so this is what I thought might happen, is that Oh wait, no, this is different. Constructor count, expected 12. Ah, yes. So we added the huts here for our village. So now when we create, yes, this needs updated. So you're going to start out with 0 huts, of course. Yeah, you thought you had a hut? No, you start out sleeping on the ground in this game. Yeah, you're just sleeping. Yo, everybody. Yo, Simon. If you just say yo, I say yo back. Yo, Simon. Is this a on-chain version of a dark room? No, I've actually not played a dark. Oh, a dark room. Yes. Yo, mysterious me. Yes, Lorenzo. Actually, a dark room is one of the other huge games that I'm inspired by. Actually, it was one of my favorite games in college, and I played that game, and it was amazing. A dark room is it's a resource game. It's sorry, I'm like jumbled in my head because I'm like seeing comments at the same time. I'll have to answer some of those other ones later. I'll have to continue on what I was saying. So a dark room, yeah, basically in a dark room, you're like clicking and tapping to get resources and stuff, and that's kind of what we're going to be doing here with Stoke Fire. Is managing resources, building your village, building huts. So yes, Lorenzo, you are correct that I'm definitely inspired by that game. The dev that made that game, well, he made the iOS version. He wrote a book about his experience of building a dark room, and I read that whole book in college, and it was amazing. I loved following that guy's journey, and he did really well. Like, he built that game for iOS, and in I think like the first 6 months or so, he got hundreds of thousands of downloads on the Apple App Store, and he made I think around $200,000 on a mobile app. I think he sold it for $2, something like that. So that was very cool. Very inspired by a dark room. So that's another one of the games. It's not a dark room is single player, where this game that I'm building is more like multiple players. Like why build on top of a social graph if you're not having multiplayer? So yeah, that's the plan. So yeah, cool. Thank you, Lorenzo, for figuring that out. Yeah, so upgradable. I don't know how to say your name, but yes, the smart contracts are upgradable, and that's going to help us iterate quickly as we make progress on this. Kind of the goal is to, like, in a weekish or so, have like a first version that I have a small group of people playing, and then we'll kind of go from there. So Simon, you can use some helpers to actually get the facet selectors for you. Did not know that. I just found, like, there's all those like diamond repos. I just kind of like followed one of those that was using Forge and just followed one of those. So I don't know where that is. You have to point me to where those helpers are. I've not seen that. Oh, I just closed that. Yeah, if you have any more questions or thoughts, feel free. Because we're getting up to about 190 people now. So that's cool. Ben's asking, do you need to know Solidity for smart contracts? Yes. Yeah, like, I mean, unless you were like building on Solana or something else, I forget, there is another language that you can use on some EVMs that isn't Solidity. I forget what that's called, but for the most part, yes, you need to know Solidity to do smart contracts. So, good question. Anything else? All right. Let's continue. Back to the code. Enough messing around here. Okay. So let's see. Did we fix our tests? Is it going to work? I think so. Nope. We broke something. All right. We've now got some failing tests. Array out of bounds access. Yep, that's what this is the error I figured we would run into at some point, because this script is getting very large, and in Solidity you can only have like so many. Actually, no, out of array bounds, what are we doing here? It's our cuts probably, because we added another cut here. Where do we set that? Where do we set that bad boy? Cuts, right here at the top. Man, also this is hard because I can't see. It's like ginormous. I had to make my code ginormous so that you can see it, but then it makes it like a billboard for me. Yeah, I don't know. Where are we at? Cuts. I'm lost right now. Where's my array? Get cuts, yada, yada. I should have to declare that somewhere. And then, set the size of that. Oh, here it is. All right. Got that. All right, we need to add another facet, so we had to add the amount of cuts. We're adding another cut to this thing, right? So that should hopefully fix that error. Yeah, it's hard with the billboard text. And boom, we're back. We're back. It works. We've got all the tests working. So that works. Oh man, am I freezing up? That website's freezing up. Let's see, Simon's saying for friend pet, we created a simple JS file to be 100x quicker because for Forge inspect, for some reason, recompile the project every time. I mean, Forge is pretty fast though. Am I right? I mean, if I run, I mean, compared to, running all those tests, that's pretty fast. Yeah, I feel like I've had a good experience with Forge so far, of how quick it is, at least. So I haven't had an issue there. I'm wondering where you think it's slow. All right, so now we need to actually add some tests here. So let's do a build facet test.t.sol. Boom, bada bing. I'm gonna copy this. I love Forge because all your code is in Solidity, which obviously, Solidity has shortcomings. It has a lot of limitations, but it's really nice for testing because everything's in Solidity. So it's like you can, it just has a lot of cool things. Like, let's see, like if we go here, these like deal and warp kind of commands, it's like you can change the timestamp that you're on the block, which block you're on in the blockchain. You can just like move to the future. It's like really cool. And then like this deal function, I can just give a wallet money and you can just be like, hey, I want this transaction to be ran by whoever this person is. So there's just like a lot of cool testing things that you can do with Forge that I feel like you can't really do easily in other places. And since everything's in Solidity, I can just reuse stuff. So it's like my deploy script. It's in Solidity. And so when I'm actually deploying the real contracts, I just, run those scripts. When I'm testing, I can just use the same script. So a lot of times, like in JS, like if you're using hard hat or something, you'd have to like kind of create two versions of that deploy, like one version for testing and utils, stuff like that. One version for actually deploying. The other kind of cool thing, I have this helper config. It's all in Solidity as well, but it handles whichever chain. It handles all the chain stuff. And this kind of just handles that. And it's like, okay, if you're on base Apoya, local. So yeah, it's cool. I like it. Okay, so we got our test here. Let's see if we can actually make some progress here. We got all that stuff. Our setup is, for the most part, going to be similar, very similar. So I'll just copy this part for our setup. Boom, yada, yada, yada. And I might even add to the setup a little bit of, so like in this setup here, we do the minting and some of this stuff. So I'll just copy this setup actually, because it gets us a little farther. We already tested, all the minting stuff, all those things. So in the setup, I'm going to do some more setup stuff to just kind of get us to a good starting place that we can actually test the parts that we want to test here. Wow, we've got like 210 people in here now. That's pretty cool. Very cool. Mostly from Twitter right now. So yes, hope you are entertained. Entertained by my coding that is going very slow. But yeah, let me know if my setup needs to get better in any way. I got a decent camera here and got some lights, so that helps. Kind of my plan is this, if I stream for like an hour, 2 hours every day building this stuff, this will be mostly the time where I'm just like messing around, chatting with you guys, hopefully getting feedback and stuff from you guys and letting you in on what's going on. And hopefully I'm, ideally make some progress, but it's mostly for the motivation and like accountability, right? That's like the main value. And then when I'm off stream, that's when I'll actually get the work done. I'm not messing around, and I'll actually get all the building done. And then I can come back to you in the next stream and be like, oh yeah, look at all the cool stuff that I built while you were away. Let's see, a couple of people asking how to get early access. So kind of what I did is I don't want early access to be like this thing that happens for too long. But I have a hypersub. So if you don't know what hypersub is kind of like I'm forgetting the Web 2 version of it. Hypersub is it's for creators. Actually, let's just pull this up. Might as well. Okay. Show my screen here. Okay, so this is hypersub that I'm showing right now. Basically, it's like Patreon. That's the word. That's like the Web 2 version is Patreon. So it's like a way to support a creator and get extra benefits, get extra things. So kind of my idea for Stoke Fire was to create a hypersub, which is an on-chain version. You're paying kind of like this monthly fee to kind of be in, right? This is actually this is built by somebody on Farcaster. So, there's most of the stuff and creators and stuff on here are Farcaster people, but this is a cool project, really cool project. I think this is a really good idea for creators. And so like for my hypersub, you can pay 0.005 ETH, which is like, $12 per month to get access. And like what I say here is you get early access to Stoke Fire, and I'm going to add you to a group chat. So we've got some, subscribers already here, which, my whole goal with this is just have some people, show a little bit of skin in the game to kind of be able to join in. I don't want that many people really. Just having like 12 people or so is all I really need to like test the first versions of the game, get feedback, stuff like that. But if if you're interested, want to be one of those early people, go find this page and you can join that way. And I'll add you to our group chat. We have a group chat right now. We're in Warpcast on Farcaster. So I don't know how many of you are into Farcaster or know much about that, but that's kind of what I've been building around. And so if you join this, I can add you there, and that's where we kind of do our communication for info about this game and feedback and stuff like that. So, it's fun. We're having fun there. That's kind of the plan. I don't know where you find this link. I mean, you can go to hypersub.xyz, and I think they have like a gaming. Let's see if we can find it, because I don't have. I did share this on Farcaster, so if you're over there, then that will work. If you scroll down on their main page, go to gaming, because I don't necessarily want to share a link on Twitter, at least right now. Yeah, go to gaming, and then you find mine. I must build, and it's called that because I must build. We must do it. We must build this thing. I actually, kind of a fun story, is created a YouTube video. I had a YouTube channel back in the day, has like over 450 videos on it, and I did like Let's Plays, game stuff. Very embarrassing stuff. Don't go find the channel, because that was when I was a kid. I mean, it was in high school, and that's when I was first creating content and stuff. And I had a lot of fun with it, but I was really into Minecraft and Minecraft Let's Plays, and I created some Let's Plays, or I created some music videos, and I Must Build was one of the music videos, and it was my best performing video. I think it got maybe it's over 200,000 views now, potentially, but that's I Must Build. And so I named the hypersub off of I Must Build, because to this day, I must build in Minecraft. We love building. We had to build in Minecraft, and I must build now to this day. I love building. I need to build. I must build. And so that's what I called the hypersub, and used this is the thumbnail from that video, that YouTube video, I Must Build. So yeah, fun story. Okay. Let's see if we can do this. So we're setting the block time to the past. We're minting a test village, getting a random number. I don't think we need a random number necessarily, but we might in the future. So we'll keep it there. And we're going to have to get some wood. I can probably do that a part of the test as well. So let's just go to the resources. We need a decent amount of wood. So let's copy this. So we're going to have a test that's kind of similar to this. Test build hut. That's what we'll call this. And we need to have our resource facet. So let's import that. I think they're listening to me because they knew exactly what I wanted there. Okay, so we got that. We're going to chop some wood. So this is where we have to warp into the future. So I can chop again. But this gives us like six wood or whatever. Chop wood again. Prank user, yeah. Very rusty. I am so rusty at this. Give village, do some stuff like that. Basically, we're going to test how much wood we have after we build a hut, and do we even have a hut? That's what we're going to test. So let's do import build facet. Yeah, do that. Okay, so eventually what we're going to do is we're going to do build facet. Man, they just know. They know what I want. The AI, they're listening to us. They understand. All right. So we're building a hut. So this is our token ID is 1. And since we're testing, we just have 1 token ID. So that's our village ID. All right, so we're going to build a hut, and then we get our village. And so let's assert that huts is 1. We should have a hut now. And our wood should, I don't know how much wood we'll have. We'll have to see because this is somewhat random. And then we also might have to chop more wood as well. Trying to remember in Forge. Let me just bring this down here. We need the Forge playbook here. Cause wrong Forge, wrong kind of Forge. I think it's like get forge.sh, something like that. My head is so scattered right now. So just a lot going on. All right, here we go. Foundry book. I want to know, I don't remember, how do you test for writing tests? If I just want to test one file, that's all I want to do because I don't remember. There's some command. We'd probably do it in the command line. That would probably be easier to see what my options are. Because if I do Forge test right now, it's going to test all of them. I don't really want to test everything because it just takes more time. But this is most likely going to fail, which is what we would expect. Which it did. Not village owner. Test build hut. All right, so we got a village owner issue. Probably because we got a prank here that we are the user. Wow, 225 of you in here now. Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool. Now I just have to make this work. Not enough wood. All right, that is the error that we're wanting. And actually, at some point, we're going to test that. So I'm going to copy this. We're going to make a new test at some point to test that event, that error. We want to make sure that we don't let people build huts when they're not able to. But how much wood did we have? Does this tell me? How much wood do we have? Because it's random, but it's not really random. So we know. Huh. It's not telling me. Last time chopped wood. I don't really care about testing this. Yeah, it's like we do equals. We didn't want to know how much wood we have. Let me see here. I'm going to look at my notes real quick while you're not looking at the screen. So I can just remember if I have any shortcut commands for Forge. Nope. I put it in Notion. That's what I do. Oh, yes. Adam to the rescue. To test a single file, you can do Forge test, match path. Yeah, that makes sense. Or I think you can do the contract name or something like that. I don't remember exactly. Skippy Walks. We've got a new person on the hyper sub. Skippy Walks, welcome, thank you. That's cool. Okay, yep. I think I just found it. Here we go. So if I do forge test and then match contract, I like this one. Then we just match the build facet test. If I named it right, yep, I named that. I updated it. See if we get what we want. Yes. Okay. And then also, it's coming back. It's coming back. Yeah, the V's. We got to add those V's to get extra data so we can know what's actually happening here. This is also why Forge is amazing. They have this testing framework. It just tells you way more. What's actually happening, what's going on here. So build hut, reverted, not enough wood. But how much wood do we have? Come on, tell me. We can always log it out, I guess, if we have to. Yes, I guess we will do that. Or is it, maybe I need another V. It's always just more V's. That's always the answer. More V's, more information. I think 4 V's is the most you can do. Wood added. Ah, look at that. 4. So we've got 4 added. We need 10. That was the event emitted. So looks like we have like 6 now. So we basically just need to do this again. I don't care about that. I don't care about that. We need to warp another day. So we can add more wood. So we warp, and then here we chop wood, something random. Okay, and then we build the hut. So now let's see how much wood we have now. Not enough wood, so we're still reverting on that. Let's actually just go log out how much wood we have. Boom. This will help us do that. Do people actually like watching live streams on Twitter? I don't get it. I never like watching live streams on Twitter because then you're like, it's usually on a small screen. It's usually on mobile. I like YouTube. I'd go to YouTube if I were you. But we got a lot of people coming from Twitter, so I guess that's that's where I have a bigger following, I guess. So that's how it works. Okay, did I just run this? I forget even what I was doing. Yes, we've got 9 wood. Okay, so we are so close. So there's 2 options we have here. We could either change a random number, because this is somewhat random, right? We could try to change this. Let's change it to like a 1, because when I chop wood, I get random amounts of wood. So it just, since it's not actually random because we're seeding it, and it should be the same every time, then we might have enough wood at that point because we could get more wood. All right, looks like we went farther. Yes, we've got 15 wood now. We've got more. We got so much wood. So that part should work at least now. So that's cool. But we're still failing somewhere else. 5 does not equal 4. Okay, perfect. We're getting through this. So yeah, so if we have, think about the logic here. If we have 15 wood, we use 10. Hey, it looks like logic works. Logic is true. Logic works. We have 10 wood now, but then we build the hut. So we are expecting 5 wood at the end of the day. So that's awesome. Let's just make sure this fails. We're actually expecting 2 huts. Don't care about that. this test is looking good, but we need to make sure it fails on the other part as well. Okay, 1 is not equal to 2. All right, so change this to 1, and we should be good to go on this test. Took us long enough, right? For all this multitasking I'm trying to do. GM, Christopher, GM, thanks for stopping by. If I'm doing stuff wrong, let me know. But we have a test passing, so that's great. GM, welcome. Viper or Huff? Yeah, I have not used either of those languages. I don't really know much about those. I have not heard of Huff at all. I've heard of Viper. Like, you can do that on some EVM chains, I think. But I don't know those. I just use Solidity. Solidity is where everything's at, right? Like, that's where people have been building for years, so. A lot more frameworks, a lot more things on Solidity, so that's kind of where you go, I guess. So do people just like put this in a live stream and then like, you know, they listen to the live stream, just have it in the background and then just like do work while they're like listening to me ramble on and listening to me try to make progress? Is that what's happening right now with these like 230-ish people on here? Because, I mean, you guys have work to do, right? Like, you're doing stuff as well, right? Yeah, so I think what I'm going to do is I have this going to YouTube as well. And I'll probably just actually put these on YouTube as like full videos so people can watch them. You can go back and you can see parts that you missed, or if you want to see the whole process. You know, ideally, if this app, you know, we build this app into be something big, right? Like we, you know, lots of users, success of some sort, then this would be really cool because then you can come back and you can actually see what I've built and what we've built together and your feedback and stuff. And you can see the whole journey. I think that's what's really cool about this. I've done this before on YouTube. So like on my YouTube channel, no brag, I have, I think over 100 videos about this business I built, one of my last businesses that was successful called Potion. It was a Notion website builder. And from day one of that business, I created these little 2-minute like videos. Every day I would create a 2-minute video showing the progress I had made on that, you know, product, on that business. And I would upload it to YouTube. I'd put it up on Twitter. You know, I wasn't live streaming or anything, but that business ended up being like my full-time job and being the whole thing I went on. Got it up to like 7K MRR and was just building. And it was really cool to be able to go back on YouTube and see, like, you can go find the playlist on my YouTube channel. It's just like Potion. That's the business. And you can go see the very first video that I made. I think it's just like Building Potion episode 1. 3 years ago, I'm seeing it now. 3 years ago. Here, I might as well show this so that you can see. 3 years ago, I started that business and created this video. And, you know, it's not like these videos have many views. Like most of them are under 1,000 views. But it's really cool to be able to, I think, even just for myself. See you, Lorenzo. Thanks for stopping by. Even for myself, like someday in the future, I think this will be really cool. I can come back to these videos and see like what was my thought process through this, because I explain my decisions, why I do what I do, and that's kind of my plan with this live stream, is to like explain those things as I go and as I'm building. And I might even, you know, use this live stream content as like, maybe I'll have someone else like chop up like highlight videos and make like little minute videos of the process so that even for myself, I can come back and like see the documentation of me building this thing. And so, you know, hopefully that's like helpful to other people that want to build and see what's possible. I think that would be cool. So yeah, that's kind of kind of the plan with this. Okay, back to it. So building a hut, that's working. This is pretty simple logic, right? Building these huts. But things get complex, right? As you add more code, as you just keep building on an app, having these tests, I think, really is a good peace of mind that like you're not breaking something and then it's all still working. So we're going to test build hut, revert, or error not enough wood. So that's what we're going to test here. So to test this, let's just get rid. Oh, we already did. So this should already happen. We can get rid of another one, I guess. So we're not going to have enough wood now. We're going to try to build it, and we're going to expect. I got to remember how to test this. So you have to like create the error there. These are some of my other tests. I'm learning from my past self. And we have to do VM expect revert, and then we have to like create that error, put that right above here. And then we have to, this is an annoying thing, you have to like go recreate the error, build. Let's change this, build hut, not enough wood. That's more descriptive because, we're going to be building other things in the future. We're not just building huts here. We do more than that. We do more than just hut building in the future. Right now, this is all you can do. You can just build huts. Okay, so yeah, we have to basically copy this, put it over here, bada boom, bada bing, and we got to add this right here. And then we can update this. Man, so much scrolling when I have billboard text. Wow, billboard text. Build hut, not enough wood. That's what we're expecting to revert. And so I shouldn't need any of these other things. All right. Test. Okay. We reverted, see? Perfect. So that test is working. What else do we want to test here? So we tested the wood. We tested revert. Let's get rid of this console log now. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Pretty simple right now. Looking pretty good. So let's go ahead and push this. Let's just, just push it. Push it to master. We made progress today. Here, let's see what changes we made. So yeah, we built that whole test suite. It's looking good. We updated our village constructor. Here's the actual facet suite. Added the huts. So everyone knows the work we've been doing, the hard work we've been slaving away at. Okay. We update our deploy to handle it. Kind of boilerplate code there. All right, so this is Makefile. I don't know if you know Makefile, but it allows you to write commands for Forge to like do stuff quickly. So for some testing purposes, like testing on Sepoya base or testnet, and you can like do transactions, run scripts. So that's what I have this for. I just have a couple updates here for like testing these things. Sure, we'll commit that. These are our test keys and things, so don't worry about those. They won't have any, they have no value on them. There's nothing there. Trust me. All right. We're going to commit this. We're going to say added build facet and creating huts. We can now create a hut. And push. Wow. We have shipped today. Look at that. We have shipped. Thank you for sticking around. We've been going for an hour and a half. We can keep going. We're not done yet. We are not done here. We have more to do. We have more to build. But I have to think about it. I've got to think what are we doing? What do we have to make next? So I have this version of my app. I had the version of the game on my phone that I was playing around with a week or two ago. And what seemed to kind of be missing is you were just like getting resources, but there wasn't enough to do like your goal. Like basically all you could do is get resources, stoke the fire, and then you get more points. You get a score. The more wood you have, the higher every time you stoke fire, you get more score points. Your score goes higher. And so I think to make it more fun, like you need options, you need to have things to do with your resources. And, the plan is to add, I have lots of ideas for things to add, but we want like a simple loop that we can build right now that's like a small version of the game that we can get in your hands. We can get, our early hypersub people playing. So yeah, that's kind of the hope to what's that simple loop. And so right now, you chop wood, you gather food, you build huts. And I think to kind of fulfill that loop, you need to actually grow your population. Like you need to have people moving into your village. And I think that will be kind of like the cool thing. Like that's the number you kind of like, you have your score number, but also you want to see that population number go up. There's this really cool game that I played a month ago or so called Manor Lords. It was a very cool game made by a solo dev. That was also very inspiring to me because, I'm a solo dev. But he built this game in 6 years. He took 6 years to build this game. And it was a really cool game. You can basically, a lot of similar ideas. Like you can have your village. You're kind of the lord of the village and you're making decisions, ordering your villagers around to build things and do things, which, there's some similarities to Stoke Fire, what we're building here. But one thing that he had that I thought was really cool is it was a very realistic game. Like it was trying to be very realistic of like how economies actually work. And so like you would build huts, you'd build homes and stuff, but that doesn't just give you it wouldn't just give you new villagers with that. Like villagers would just decide to move in once you had the amount of resources and things that would satisfy them. And so that is actually something that I want to do. Hello, Dark Knight Gaming. Glad you found the channel. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, we're basically building a game right here. So thanks for stopping by. Hopefully this is interesting. We're building a game on chain, on base, and we're trying to do something new and fascinating. So that's my quick pitch. Anyways, so kind of the idea of your population grows not just by you clicking a button. I guess technically it will be, but it's more like your village has to have the right resources and things for your village to be able to handle more people. And so obviously you need huts because people can't just move into nothing. So you need a hut. So having extra huts allows for your village to grow. But also, at least right now, in our very small, simple loop that I'm talking about, the other resource we have is food. And if you don't have enough food, then like villagers aren't going to move in. And I'm thinking that like your food is going to be taken by the villagers. Maybe every time so I'm kind of using this stoke fire. Every couple days you have to stoke your fire. This stoke fire action will do multiple things. It's going to be one, it's going to keep your fire burning, which your villagers love. They like to be warm. They like that hot fire, right? But also it's kind of an action on chain that I can use to kind of look at your village, look at your resources, and kind of make a judgment of like, how are you doing? How is the village going? Do we need to add villagers? Like new villagers are then going to move into your village and your population grows, or maybe you're doing bad and you can't even support the villagers that you have right now. And so then people move out. And so that's going to be part of the game is you got to keep your economy. Ultimately, this is like an economy game, right? Like you got to keep your economy in tip top shape for your village to grow. And you gotta manage that thing. Yeah. So anyways, welcome everybody. We're getting close to 250 people in here. That's pretty cool. So yeah, follow along if you're interested. I guess the best way to do that is on my Twitter. If you're from Twitter, just on No Brag, I'll be posting stuff there. I'm going to be live streaming. I'm thinking about live streaming every day for like 2 hours building this. So yeah, see those live streams come out. Also, I'm very active on Farcaster, which is like a crypto version of Twitter. So if you want to join Farcaster and interested there, you can join there. I'm also doing these live streams on my YouTube channel. So just search Noah Bragg and you'll see me there. I probably need to update some of my like images and logos and stuff on YouTube. So anyways, yeah, if you're here, welcome. That's how you can kind of follow along on this journey. And if you want to be an early access person, you can join my hyper sub. And anyways, going back to that story, 6 years for this solo dev to create this game. I mean, he ended up having different people help him and stuff to build the game. But just think of that, building a game for 6 years and not knowing if it was going to be success or not by the time you launch it. Like that would be very scary. And actually, he at least knew things were going well because he had like over 1 million wish lists on Steam, which is for indie devs and like game developers on Steam. Like that's kind of like their biggest, like, how are they doing is like, how many wish lists do you have that like people said in the future, I would like your game. That's like all they have to go off of. And so, yeah, that's pretty crazy though, to go for 6 years before launching something. And so I'm not going to do that. The plan is to get this thing out there as quick as possible. Like in the next week, I want a version, which I haven't even showed you the mobile app and how it looks. Cause I got something, I already been building things. I already have something there. And so I want like a first version that people can start playing in a week just for early access people, very small group, like 10 people. And then I'll just keep iterating, adding things every week, add more things, make it better, get feedback, learn. That's kind of my iterative process. And then I'm going to like build it here on streaming so that people can give their feedback and stuff. So that's a plan. Okay. So back to my loop. We got to think about how can we close this loop so that there's something fun to the game early on where people feel like they're actually growing this village. And so I think that the Stoke Fire action can be that. Like it can be like every couple of days you kind of see, oh, did my village grow? Like that's kind of the cool thing you're waiting to see. Like, did I do well? Did I not? Like, am I losing population or did I get some new villagers? And in the future, villagers are going to be very important for being able to do different things. Maybe fighting, maybe, you have to use your villagers to go out and get the resources. And so you want to grow your number of villagers. So that's kind of one of the big things of the game. And so that's the question. What can we do? Show you the code again. What can we do to kind of close that loop and make there be like a very small version of that right now? And so my idea for that is, so when we Stoke Fire, this is kind of that right now, like this takes some wood and you're getting a random amount of score added to you. So that's great. We need to add some logic here that I think would make this interesting is adding villagers. And so I need to think of a simple version of this that I could do fairly easily to add more villagers. But in the future, potentially removing villagers as well. Okay, so let's just make a few changes here that we can do somewhat easily just to kind of get started. And I don't even know really what I'm doing with this yet. So we're going to call them villagers. And to start out, you're going to have 0. Man, this initializer for village is getting very big. At some point, I'm sure I have to split this up. Like at some point, this is going to be too big, I'm sure. And I might have to like have a different data structure. I don't know how that happens. What point does this break? I mean, I could have another struct here that's just like, I don't know, a village struct. and maybe we'll have to do something like that, but it'd be like some migration. This is at least simple. We just have one struct. We have all of our data for a village right here. I'm sure eventually we'll get too big, have too many data points that we're going to have to like split this up into different structs. But we will cross that road when we get there, I guess. Okay. So we're adding villagers. We start with 0. And so kind of the idea is we need to like keep track of how many huts you have. And if you have enough huts for more villagers to come into, then we could add more. So I don't know. So like for the first version of this, maybe all it is like if you have like maybe there's like 5 villagers to a hut or something like that. And so if you have enough room, I could even do it like a whole hut just holds one family. And you know, maybe that's 7 villagers or something like that you get added. I mean, we want numbers that make sense, right? But then I also have to think about the economy of like, all right, how much does your score go up? How much does, you know, there's a lot of things that kind of change based on all this. So I think we want a simple version though for right now. And it could be based on how many huts you have and how much food you have. Because you have to have food to feed your villagers, right? Okay, so change the wood. We could add a library to handle this so that then we could update that. So like village.villagers plus equals. So I want to have like a library because this could get big. Let's copy this. This could be like a helper function. Villagers library. This would be like a helper function because I feel like this logic is going to change over time and it could get kind of big. So I'm just going to, you know, start out having a different library that helps us do this. Calculate added villagers. And sure, we'll take in a seed. Adding some randomness, I think, makes this more fun. You're not really sure how many villagers you're going to get, or based on some random data. There's a little bit of random data. So yeah, so we'll keep that. We need food. We need to know how much food you have. We need to know how many huts you have. And we need to know how many current villagers that you have. That's going to help us know. That's the data we will use to decide if you get more villagers or less villagers. Again, I mean, this is going to be pretty simple to start out. Like, I'm probably just going to like do some addition, subtraction, and kind of like make a decision about how many new villagers you get based on that. But yeah, so let's just kind of figure this out as we go, I guess. Okay, so if we could do something like 7 villagers per hut, like that kind of sounds like a good amount that makes sense. Man, and then when you jump back in between like JavaScript and TypeScript, you have to like remember all of this like different like division stuff. Division and Solidity is not good. Doesn't work well. So I have to remember how to do that stuff. Kind of rusty right now. Okay, so if your food equals, like maybe right now, yeah, it's like if your food is 0, it's like we could remove some villagers potentially. We could like do a negative number because the food's what's really matters. So we don't care about wood here. It's like you have to have enough food for the number of villagers that you have right now. But yeah, I think to start out, let's not do that because that adds some complexity. I have to think about some other things, like how many villagers you have and how that could affect things. Again, hello everybody. I see you there. If you have any questions, just put them in the chat or just reply there. Okay. Is there really 250 people in here? Or is that just views? That might just be views. Like people that left and are gone now. I don't know. Maybe someone can answer that. On Twitter, it says there's 244 views. Is that just people that like come in and left? Probably not people that are live, are they? But it kind of says in Restream that it shows like an eyeball icon and says 244. So I don't know if that's how many people are actually here or not. Probably not. So I don't know. I don't know how this works. Let me know how this works because I do not know. Okay, anyways, thinking about this. So if they have food, we're just going to, if they have 0 food, maybe it's even if they have less than 10 food, we just return 0. It's like you're not getting any new villagers coming if you have less than 10 food. So that's our first check. And so then next, and this is where I have to make sure my division is right. Current villagers divided by number of huts. We need to get so say we have like 2 huts. If our current villagers, let's see. We want to know like how many of our huts are being used. Huts would actually be current villagers divided by 7 maybe. That's how many huts have been used. If we're going by villagers per hut. So put that there. And that's where we could have a division issue. Have to think about that because I can't remember. But yeah, that's kind of the idea that we see how many full huts we have. And then if our unused huts or empty huts equals huts minus full huts. So we have some more huts. And if empty huts is greater than 0, then, maybe we added a new amount of people. And that's where I don't necessarily want 7 to always be how many villagers are per hut. Like I want it to be kind of random, right? So I don't know. I have to think about that. But maybe this is like the simple version of return 0 here. Of if they have hut space, we basically give them 7 new villagers. But also 7 is kind of a lot. I have to think about that because in the future, I have ideas of things I want these villagers to do. I don't want to add too many. But yeah, we'll figure that out. Okay, so, but let's just run with this, and I'll keep changing things as I go. Villagers, library. Calculate added villagers. And then let's just go over here and pull what we need to add here. So yeah, we need seed. And we may just want to send in our village instead of all this stuff. Probably better. Especially as we add new things. So let's update that. I mean, it should be storage, I think, because we're passing it in as storage. Current villagers, that's going to be village.villagers, village.huts. Not using seed yet, not using that things yet, that's fine. All right. I need to check later if I should actually be doing storage here. This is a storage variable. We have it saved in storage. But yeah, I need to recheck how that works. All right. So basically we're getting the number of villagers to add. We update that. And then, I mean, we'll probably, for now, we're just going to emit village.villagers. So we can know how many new villagers we have on our indexer. And like, again, I said that eventually we're going to have to change this so that it's only updating the changes instead of just like the final state. But that's how I have it right now. Someday we will update that. All right, so at least we have this kind of working here. And then I can play around with actually making this be better, have some better logic here. But I think that I'm kind of fried right now. I don't know if my brain's not working that well right now. So this is probably a good place for me to kind of stop the stream and we can continue later on in the future. Yeah, because this has been fun. This has been good. Thank you everyone for joining, and diving in. I'm going to have to keep doing these. Probably do one tomorrow morning as well. So stay tuned for sure. And let me know if there's anything that you'd like me to do differently, or things, feedback, things that you think I could do better. And then this stuff will hopefully be live. I'll keep these posted on YouTube so you can watch back through them if you're interested in checking things out. But yeah, we've been on for, where does it say? About an hour and 45 minutes. So not bad. Decent amount of time. So yeah, it's been going good. And I will see you in another one. Remember to keep your village warm by stoking